Hey guys, how you doing? I'm doing okay. One of my top five all-time favorite movies is Sleuth, the 1972 movie with Michael Caine and Laurence Olivier. I came upon the movie when I bought un, an, two unknown films in New York for $5 a piece. And I discovered that they were basically from the same feature film. Two actors who sounded very familiar to me, but I couldn't place them. Um, then I spliced them together and went to the library, and this was the New York City Public Library. And as I was reserved a projection booth, one of the librarians passed by, looked in the booth, saw what I was watching, and then she moved in and stood beside me, and I said hi. She says, "That's Sleuth." I says, "What do you mean?" And she says, "That's the movie Sleuth." And she told me all about it. I said, "Really?" She says, "Oh, it's a great movie. I love the movie." So eventually I got the full print of it, and it became my top five movies of all time. And it introduced me to Michael Caine. Now, having watched the movie so many times, and then I decided to watch Laurence Olivier in Rebecca and the 1940s movie, and he didn't look the same, he didn't act the same, he didn't sound the same, and it was very weird. Now, when after Sleuth in 1972, he seems to have disappeared. Well, I always was looking, okay, what else did he do after Sleuth? So, for those who love Sleuth as much as I do, and the actor Laurence Olivier, I came upon Love Among the Ruins 3 years later. So this movie is 3 years after Sleuth. Because Sleuth was 72, this movie is 75. So here he is 3 years older, just 3 years. And, of course, Katharine Hepburn is in this too. But if you're familiar with Sleuth and the conversation he had with Kane's character, Milo Tyndall, you will see a little bit of Andrew Wyke in Laurence Olivier's performance in this movie.
Did you get very wet?
Oh, never mind. I ain't here.
They?
Mr. Drew's and his client.
Oh.
Mrs. Medlicott.
Yes.
She's here?
No, she's not yet.
Well, it's after 4 o'clock.
They're late.
Yeah, thank heaven, so am I. I was expecting plenty of time to have another look at Druce's brief. Be lucky if I can get the grind of the courtroom off my hands before she gets here.
I can easily detain them outside, sir, until you're ready.
Don't even think.
I beg your pardon.
You're to shut up for a moment there. You're not to delay by so much as a single instant, you understand?
Very good, sir.
Not one more instant. I thought we agreed that the cleaning woman should make a special effort in here.
Well, she did, sir. She was here much longer than usual. You won't find any dust anywhere.
It looks just the same to me. I was wanting...
Sir?
Oh, nothing.
Did you expect it to look different?
No, what I was expecting, I don't know what I was wanting. Damn wig makes it a habit of my hair. What's left of it? The sight once of a city great and gay. The country now does not even boast a tree. Browning.
Are you all right, sir Arthur?
Yeah, what? Don't I look all right?
Oh, yes, you look fine.
What's wrong? Am I behaving strangely? Ah, there they are!
He runs just like he did in Sleuth, when he was afraid the police were at the door or something, and he was running around trying to find the clues.
them, sir.
There they are. Go on down. Hurry, man, hurry.
Yep.
Holden.
Just like when he was trying to find the clues
Left it on your desk, sir.
in Sleuth.
Place it more conspicuously, will you? And open it as if I've been studying it. Go on, man.
I mean, does he know how much of
He'll ask you the questions. You just have to stick to them.
Just like he was trying to, when the inspector was at his door, he had to appear normal.
Good afternoon, Arthur.
Oh, here you are at last. Hello, George.
We're not so very late, are we?
Oh,
A few minutes?
It doesn't matter. Come in. Thank you, Morton. If I need anything, I'll ring.
How are you? Good to see you. We had a devil of a time getting here from Regent's Park. The traffic in the Strand at this side is shocking.
Please don't apologize.
He's not apologizing, he's explaining.
Mrs. Medlicott, Sir Arthur Granville James. Sir Arthur, Mrs. Giles Medlicott.
How do you do? I said, how do you do?
I beg your pardon, madam. I'm very well, thank you. And you?
As you see.
May we sit down?
Yes, I remember.
Yes?
What was I saying?
Well, you said that you remember. Remember what?
The curious thing is, it's gone clean out of my head.
Never mind, it will come back to you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm afraid my skirt got wet.
Yes, it will all come back.
Is he hard of hearing?
Beg your pardon.
It's raining.
I'm so sorry. Do forgive me. Please, come by the fire. Shall Morton make you a cup of tea?
Oh, no, thank you. I've had my tea.
Please sit here, madam.
Thank you.
Wait. Would you like to give me your hat, madam? Shall I take it?
Why? Don't you like it?
Oh, yes, it's charming. It's just that it might be wet, and it casts a shadow in this light just across your face.
And you want to see what sort of woman you're taking on, is that it?
Yes.
Very well. Be patient. There are 3 hat pins.
May I offer you a little sherry?
You may offer it. I shan't have any.
Is there anything at all I can get you?
A quick verdict in my favor would be
That's
lovely.
very good, isn't it? Well, we have to see what we can do, eh, George? George, please sit.
There. Well, what do you think? Do I look the sort of woman who seduces and betrays young boys, as the newspapers have implied?
You look,
Yes.
you know how you look.
Well, if that is a compliment, it seems to me a most ambiguous one.
Old as I am, for ladies' love unfit, power of beauty, I remember yet.
That's better.
That's Dryden.
Here's my hat.
Oh, now, where shall I put this?
Anywhere but on your head, I should think.
Yes. Well, I've been studying your brief, George.
I see it, you have.
Yes, not as thoroughly I was obliged. You see, I've been to court every day this week. Lord Baconthorpe's suit for divorce.
It's a mess.
It's a mess, isn't it?
My case.
No, the Baconthorpe affair. Lady Baconthorpe shot her lover 3 times in the most unlikely place.
Where exactly?
Trafalgar Square.
Oh, how spectacular. And I only jilted mine in Petworth Place. Is that what you're thinking? What a letdown. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
Are you
Am I what?
sorry to have disappointed me?
But how solemn you are. I thought we were joking.
Oh, you're misled. I take these matters very seriously.
Are we talking about the same thing?
I wonder.
Have I missed a chapter? I seem to have lost the thread.
Was there something you wanted to say to me, Mrs. Medley?
About what?
Never mind.
Mrs. Medlicott understands that there are questions you'll be obliged to put to her.
Yes. Yes. I'm quite prepared.
I continually have the feeling that you're about to say that you know me.
Know you?
Yes.
But I don't know you, do I?
Do you?
Well, how could I? I've never been to law before.
Recently, you might just have seen me in Petworth Place. I live close by. In fact, from my window, I can see your front door.
Can you?
Can you?
How curious. No, I know very few people in Petworth Place, or any other place for that matter.
Well, I've been told you like to live very quietly. As a matter of fact, when I first took up the lease of my house in April, I took the liberty of calling on you. Since you weren't receiving, I left my card, but regrettably there's never been any response.
I've been in mourning for the past 2 years, Sir Arthur, since the death of my late husband, Giles Mendicott. I entertain very little, which is to say not at all. I'm afraid I don't recall seeing your card. Had I done, I expect I should have wondered as to the purpose of your visit. I know, of course, that you're at the very top of your profession. George Druce has told me all that.
The finest barrister in the Empire, in my humble opinion.
Yes, still, after all, you are, forgive me, a stranger to me.
I'm sorry. I had thought we had met.
When?
A long time ago. Very long time.
Where?
Don't remember.
I think you must have made a mistake.
No.
Perhaps you're confusing me with
Not
somebody.
possible.
But if you won't tell me when it was or where.
Never mind. We'll come back to you.
Oh, how beastly of you.
Meantime, Arthur, perhaps we...
Oh, yes, do let's get on with the questions.
Yes, by all means. Well, now, this is a very difficult case. It really is very complicated.
Why do you say that? Surely the charge is common enough.
A breach of promise. Oh, yes, it's common enough when it's brought by a woman. Time was when the courts were fairly swarming with young ladies hauling up their young men for trifling with their affections, as the saying goes. But it's a very different matter, and rare enough to be most awkward when, as in this present case, the charge is brought against a lady of
Yes?
considerable means and social position, and
And of a certain age.
of a certain age, as the saying goes, by a gentleman somewhat
Younger.
much younger.
I don't much care for much. It's superfluous, isn't it? I mean, surely just much would have served quite adequately.
Sorry.
Furthermore, the idea of Alfred Pratt posing as a gentleman is nothing more than mutton dressed as lamb,
Oh?
as the saying goes. Looks nice and tender, but usually turns out to be tough and unsavory.
But he was an officer in the Mauritania, was he not?
he was a purser.
An assistant purser.
I see.
A very ambitious, very tenacious assistant purser. A worm.
Yet you loved him once.
Did I?
You did consent to marry him. He had witnesses.
Oh, he had witnesses, all right. Brought along especially for the occasion. There was his sister. Well, she's relatively harmless.
And his mother?
She's the bitch.
He claims your housekeeper.
Davis?
Yes, she was also present.
Davis will never give evidence against me.
But she'll be on oath, madam. Now, do you expect the poor woman to perjure herself?
And who are you, Sir Arthur, to tell me what I can and cannot expect of my own servants?
I'm your advocate, dear lady. At least I presume that's what you want.
What I want is to have this contemptible farce over with as quickly, and I might add, as economically as possible. I trust you will remember, Sir Arthur, when we come to the matter of your fee, that you have been engaged to defend me against extortion, not subject me to it.
Mrs. Medlicott, just...
That's all right, George. And I, delivering you, am satisfied. And therein do account myself well paid.
Ah, a rhyme for every occasion. Don't be too generous, or I shall distrust you as human nature.
Do you recognize those words?
Should I?
Merchant of Venice, Portia to Antonio.
You're fond of quoting poetry.
All lawyers are prone to quote poetry, the Bible. It's the legal profession's common alternative to an original mind.
How you stare at me.
You haven't answered my question. Did you love him?
Love whom?
You know very well whom I mean. At any rate, you let him believe you loved him, didn't you?
He'll have to prove that.
Consider the boy who loved you, believing that you loved him.
You are being presumptuous.
Promise
Promised what?
that you would always,
Always?
that you would never.
What is he talking about?
Arthur?
What on earth is he talking about?
Arthur?
What's wrong? What is it? What?
I promised I would always. I promised I would never. I cannot follow his thought at all.
You all right?
Yes, quite. My mind just wandered. What? Good Lord, I must plead guilty to a charge of wool gathering.
Preoccupation in an advocate. Surely that is a calamity.
Unpardonable. Off with his head.
I have no taste for calamity, Sir Arthur, not anymore, not now.
Neither has any of us, madam.
I used to have. When Giles died, and for a long time afterward, I gorged myself on disaster. Every morning with breakfast, I would pore over the newspapers for word of new catastrophes. I was insatiable. And why not? My world, the only world I knew, had been destroyed so suddenly, so cruelly. It lay about my feet in ruins. Why should any other world endure?
I know the pain of being left behind.
In time, of course, the rage passes and one is able to face one's loss and to accept it.
Not always.
I look upon my relationship to Alfred Pratt and his family now as my last bitter taste of calamity. The day I wrote to him breaking off that preposterous betrothal, in fact, the very moment I sat down at the desk and put pen to paper, I knew that I'd come through, that all the anger and anguish of Giles' death was behind me. What I wanted from then on was only to be quiet, to be very, very quiet, and to live out what was left of my life as serenely and uneventfully as possible.
Well, Arthur?
Most enlightening. But it is not the story I should advise you to tell to 12 good men and true.
Why not? It's the truth.
In English court, there are always two kinds of truth. The truth as it is spoken, and the truth as it is heard. A gentleman with a background not unlike your own might listen to that explanation, might nod, and understand, and even sympathize. But a juror of a different class than yours, chances are a lower one, is liable to shake his head and think why this formidable lady has simply used the poor lad for her own purposes and then forsaken him for the flimsiest of reasons, out of weariness, out of boredom, and award him the £40,000 that George Juice will think his counsel will ask for.
50.
50?
Yes. 50. Damn it.
30,000 compensatory damages, 20 in punitive.
Good Lord, £50,000.
Must you repeat the amount?
Just go.
Oh, my smelling salts. George, my bag. My
I
bag.
open a window.
In this weather, I don't want pneumonia on top of everything else, thank you. Filthy stuff.
Better?
Not a penny of my money is he to have.
I told her there's no doubt that Pratt will settle out of court for much
Not
less than...
a farthing.
It will spare you any further notoriety.
I loathe the notoriety. I treasure my privacy, but I will not ransom it from thieves.
You should also know that should you lose your case, you will have to pay not only all the damages, but all the costs as well.
But who has spoken of losing?
Well, I should also warn you that his solicitors have engaged the services of one of the most clever advocates in England to represent him in court.
Yes, I heard him this morning. Divine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't what divine?
Bad luck.
Bad luck on earth.
What is?
Oh.
What are you two talking on about?
John Francis Divine, KC, ironically referred to in the profession as Saint John the Divine.
Because he's the very devil of an opponent.
Anglo-Irish.
He has a common touch.
Yes, and for that reason, juries tend to like him better than they do me, just as they will probably like his client better than they will you.
And why is that?
Because you're a great lady with more money than most of them will hope to see their whole lives long. And because the idea of poor, unwashed Alfred Pratt parting you from an enormous chunk of it has all the ingredients of a popular legend. Instantaneous success without thought or labor. Just like winning a fortune in a lottery. It makes their own hopeless little hopes seem a little more susceptible of attainment.
Let me tell you something. I, too, have cherished hopeless hopes. And I know something about poverty. Oh, I come of an excellent family, it's true. Very proud and very, very poor. When I was 6, my father went out to Bangalore for the East India Company, which everyone thought madly romantic, and succumbed within a fortnight to dysentery, which they thought somewhat less so. My mother and I nearly starved. All that kept me alive through my childhood were dreams of being grown up and a famous actress with a suite of Claridges and a coach and 4 champagne suppers in Lord Somebody's rooms in the Adelphi. The reality, as it turned out, was a wretched dressing room in a provincial theatre, third-class railway carriages, fish and chip shops, and shabby theatrical digs. And then I met Giles Medlicott.
And his reality was a country estate, a house in town, and winters in Bordighera.
Monte Carlo.
He was considerably older than you.
Why do you mention that?
The young men who were your admirers might have accused you of bartering your youth for an old man's gold, as they say in melodramas.
What is your point? It's true, he was older than I and he was rich. If you mean to imply a parallel between myself and Mr. Medlicott and Alfred Pratt and me, you overlook the most important factor. Alfred Pratt loves no one but Alfred Pratt. Giles Medlicott loved me.
And you?
I loved him too. In time.
But not when you married him.
Why should you have to know that? I loved him when he died, isn't that enough? Long before he died. I made him happy.
And that makes you feel deserving of his fortune.
What an extraordinary thing.
I mean, you want to keep it.
And why not? It's mine now.
You earned it, as it were.
Earned it? What do you mean?
Jessica.
I inherited it. I was his wife. I am his widow.
Yes.
Naturally, I feel entitled to whatever... Oh, stop fussing, George. What is the purpose of these questions? Will they help you to plead my cause?
Well, they will introduce you to the sort of technique you may expect from St. John the Divine, and at the same time, they will help me to know you, and that is essential if I am to help you and represent you properly and effectively.
Can you do so, do you think?
I can try.
Give me your hand on it. It's settled then.
At last. What a relief.
I must go.
How natural your hand feels in mine. How familiar.
Oh, you shocking man. You're going to insist on that again.
I'm going to insist on
and
that.
Just when we were getting on so
You could possibly remember it. It was so very many years ago, and we only knew each other for such a very short time.
Are you certain of it?
Yes, Jessie. Jessie Gerald.
Okay. I'm gonna stop it here. Because that huge chunk of dialogue is so parallel to the dialogue that Laurence Olivier did with Michael Caine in Sleuth. And it's a good story here. Laurence Olivier's character is, instead of a world-famous mystery author, he's an attorney. And Katharine Hepburn is a widow, trying to get her husband's inheritance. So I will continue watching this movie, but I at least want to share with you such fine acting by Laurence Olivier. The dialogue between the three of these are fantastic. They really keep you, compelled and, glued, The chemistry is between Katharine Hepburn and Laurence Olivier is as great as the chemistry between Michael Caine and Laurence Olivier. So I think Laurence Olivier works well with whomever he works with. I think that's what made him such a well-loved and well-esteemed actor. And he, I think he's under, under notoriety these days. He's just almost a forgotten actor. But Laurence Olivier was in a lot of movies, not a lot that I've seen, but one of my beloved movies, Sleuth. I love his performance in Sleuth. It is so over the top. It is so vast. I mean, he would go from humor to drama to terror to raw emotion, and deceit and conceit. He just goes. He's just absolutely fantastic. And this is, like I said, 3 years after Sleuth, and but toward the end of the 70s, he was really getting sick, and he wasn't going to live much longer. But it's just a treasure to see him again in such fine form in 1975, 3 years after Sleuth. It's really nice to see. So that's it, friends, and all you guys out there. I just wanted to share that with you. Now, I'm more a big Michael Caine actor than I am Laurence Olivier. Because Michael Caine's my favorite actor. All-time favorite actor. Along with Charlton Heston and Jack Lemmon. I think they are fantastic actors. Okay, guys, that's about it. I will see you later. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Okay.